Hey, how's it going? I'm Beatnik. Today I thought I'd change things up and do a bit of a how-to guide for Inferno 4. I spent a lot of time trying to get the hang of this, and I really feel like I'm on top of it, and thought it'd be cool to just show what I've learnt and show the different ways around getting some of the more difficult obstacles that I found work. So let's jump in. Now I'm going to start off by saying this is by no means a pro guide. This is purely to explain how to get there, and I'm going to start that one again just to show you. That's the first time I've gotten it first try. I was not expecting that. So this bit, accelerate and then push forward, and then you want to push back just before you land so you bounce. It's the most reliable way. Another way I found does work is if you hit your front wheel first so that you can use that to bounce off of it. That takes a lot of timing, a bit more timing than the other method I find, and you got to land a lot further down, whereas the other method of just forcing back to bounce up, I find is a bit more, it's not quite as punishing to make you get the exact right spot. Now it's a matter of recreating that first try that I managed before. Okay, from here, it's exactly what you'd be used to at this point. Alright, I just cheated to get over the line. Here, there's two methods I find work. One thing people do is lean forward and then back into it to get over. And the other one is just make sure you get that pump in. You want to be leaning forward and then leaning back straight away, and it seems to, I find it gives me a bit more of a leap. Now a lot of the time with that one you're going to balance on your nose, and you want to use that. Lean just so that your weight is just over the front, and then lean back into it, and your back wheel is going to land and pull you over when you accelerate. This one's really interesting. I love this one. Let's show you what it is. So you need to get there. The thing that makes this hard is you need to get that forward motion when you get over the top. To do that, you need to actually do a wheelie up the first part of the ramp. It doesn't have to be a full-on wheelie like that, or else you're just going to lean back too far. You need to... Not quite enough, but you need to be... It doesn't matter if you're already on the front when you get to the top of the ramp. You're still going to make it up as long as you get it right with doing that wheelie, and then about there you want to be leaning forward. Once you get to the top, it's pretty much just going to be take it as it comes. I've had that many different ways that I've made it over that bit, so it's whatever works for you. Now this bit, it is, you really need to get the fullest bunny hop out of this that you can. Some people do the lean forward and then back into it trick. That really doesn't work too well for me. So I just full on make a bunny hop, and then you want to get that back wheel on first. And that's what's going to pull you up and over. Here, you can skip this checkpoint, but if you're just trying to pass it, you really want to get to that checkpoint and worry about the next part afterwards, which is actually backwards. You need to lean forward there and then back again, or else you're going to bounce the wrong way to land here. Now this spot, this gave me the most trouble out of all of the checkpoints on here the first time. I spent so many times getting to that 30 minutes and 500 retries, and I'd usually get to them both at the same time. It was pretty much one retry away when I hit the 30 minutes, or vice versa, being like a few seconds away. There are a few different ways I've found work. First off, this bunny hop. Most of the time when I got to this point, I would accelerate and stop accelerating once I'd done the bunny hop. What I find works is making sure you hold that gas all the way through the air. You need to get the biggest bunny hop you can, but you need to flick your weight forward as soon as you can, and then back again, or else you are not going to make it. It is really hard because of the way that the circle is. But once you get up here, it's a whole different ball game. These are really hard. Just take a look at this for a second. It is brutal. You've got to get up here, land on your back wheel, and then do a bunny hop from the wheelie onto the second bar, and then somehow get your weight across it as well. I still find this really difficult. It's a matter of finding what works for you. A lot of methods I've seen that where people do it in videos, they're leaning back the whole way up, and it's a matter of just getting that weight right so that you can do the lean back. That does not work for me most of the time. Most of the time when I've done it, I've managed to get the front wheel up, do the endo on there, and then flick my back wheel onto it into a bunny hop. Like that. It takes a lot of practice. But a lot of times I'll get stuck on this point and you'll keep working at it. And it's good to get your head around. You're pretty much never going to get it once you get to that point, but you learn a lot about what works and what doesn't work for you when you do get to that point. Just balancing on the top there. It's really hard because you can't dip the nose over too far or you will hit that dynamite. Just everything about this is punishing, from the ramp being made out of barrels, the dynamite there, and having that first landing of just a pole. It's just ridiculous. Oh, as if that didn't make it. See, that's what usually works for me, that trick just then. There we go. So it takes a lot of practice. And even once you get it, it takes a long time to get it consistently. And I'm still not consistent with it. A lot of my, all the silver trophies I've managed on this one, it's all hinged on that. This next bit, it's harder than you realize. This obstacle that I'm on right now is what makes it really difficult, along with that. Now this is a matter of finding what works for you. I found two methods that work. One is from a video I found online where they start here and they lean back into it, and then they're leaning forward. They're leaning forward by about by the time they actually get both wheels on here, and then they let go of that forward lean about halfway up and use that to get their front wheel over the top. What I've found works for me more often is starting back here, leaning right back into it until your back wheel has cleared the obstacle in front of us, and then you can use that to get into a bunny hop over the obstacle above us. Like, hopefully this works. That was not it. And luckily, once you get the hang of everything, this is really forgiving in terms of retries. You're not going to waste too many because you got a long landing when you land to try and recover. That's more like what I do. There we go. That's getting closer. You need a lot of speed to do it this way. Oh, that was close. Whereas the other method doesn't need as much speed, but it needs much more, probably finesse is the right word. I'm not that good yet to pull that one off. Once again, everything on this track all comes down to practice. Once I passed this, then it just became so much more fun trying to better that time because everything made sense after that first one. I actually got wrong with my own explanation. I don't lean right back, I lean back just before it and then lean into it. You want to start from a sitting stance here, and then you lean into it. Then once you get there, you have to smack that back wheel down to get the grip to pull you up the top. Not quite so much. There you go. And once you're there, you can get over. Now this... how do I explain it? The guide I found worked for me started their back wheel up a bit. And then from there... you kind of have to get your momentum... You really need to clear it. You need height in your jump so that you can get over it. A lot of bunny hops, you use it to bunny hop further, but this one, that's not going to give you the distance you need. So you need to get that height onto it. Wow, I've never done that before. Sometimes that's what you need to do with these. You want to get that first try, just do what you can to get across it. The further you get, the further you're going to get to finishing this. And it's all about getting that first finish, and then from there, it seems to click. This one reminds me of Rock of Rages. The hardest obstacle there. But I find this one's much more forgiving. Now, you can either get to this point, and you can do it from here, but you need to be really controlling the throttle so that you can lean back. And then you want to be sitting. You don't want to be leaning forward like you would be on a slope like that normally. Once you're sitting, then that's going to bring your front wheel up and over the lip, and then you flick your weight forward so that you can get it over the top of it. And you want to be doing an endo on the top to bring yourself over. The other method I find is when you're back here, doing what I tried in the beginning where you hit the front wheel first, and that's going to bounce it up and over the lip for me. You don't want to be going too fast for any of these. No. So, you don't want full throttle. It's nearly there. But you need some speed or else you're not going to get enough of a bounce like just then. I'm not sure what else there is to say about this one. It does take a bit of practice. And you seem to get those runs where everything just flows. This isn't one of them. Now that's what you need to get over. Then you lean back once your wheel's over, and that's going to get your back wheel over the top of the lip so that you can progress. Now this bit. Your instinct here is to lean back and flick your weight forward there, so that then your back wheel's straight onto this. It's not the case with this one. You want to be leaning back, and you don't want to lean forward to flick your back wheel onto it until you hit that ledge on top of the dynamite there. So lean back here and then forward. And you don't want to accelerate the whole way up. If you accelerate the whole way up, then you're going to backflip over it, and you're not going to get the forward momentum you need to get over the lip. So lean back, forward. So lean back, forward, stop accelerating, and then sometimes you can get enough forward motion to get over it on your own. Most of the time you're going to need to do an endo and use that to bring your weight over it. And worst comes to worst, you can endo over the checkpoint. Now this, you just want to be doing a really quick bunny hop. You want to lean back, forward, and then you want your weight back again, and that's going to lift your back wheel up so that you can clear to get on top of the obstacle. And then you need to flick your weight forward again once you're on it so that you're going to clear that dynamite. So straight back, forward, back, and then forward again. And that clears it. Alright, this one is just a matter of you need to do exactly what you think you need to do. But there's just that little bit of a gap here, which makes it that little bit harder. So lean back into it, and then forward once your back wheel is about to hit it, and then you need to ride it the whole way up. Now just before you hit the top, you need to stop leaning forward, because you want your back wheel to hit the next obstacle first. Now if you lean forward too much as well, you're going to bounce like that. It's just, it takes a bit to get a feel for this. Now So you want to bring that back wheel so it hits there. You want that back wheel to hit first. This gave me a lot of grief until I finally realized the way it's meant to happen. Now, there's one thing that's missed in the guide that I used for this section. Let's not hit the mic there. Now, the one that worked for me was you want to land on this slope here, launch up and onto the ledge up the top, but you want to do an endo into a wheelie and use that to bunny hop. Now, the thing that I think's missed in a lot of guides is when you can't make that bunny hop consistently, the best way to make it so that you're going to get onto the final platform is to hold the brakes and get your front wheel on forward. And once again, it's relying on the endo trick to get your weight across, get your back wheel over the lip, so that you're going to be able to clear it and finish the final checkpoint. Now, the simplest way to get it consistent is to land on that, and even that, because of the way it bounces, is harder than it looks. You want to get up here, let go of the front lean, let go of leaning forward once you hit the top of this ramp, and that's going to get you that little bit of a bunny hop so that you can get your front wheel up here. You want to brake on there into the endo, and then from the endo you're going to be putting your back wheel down and turning that into the bunny hop. It takes practice. You need to get your weight really in the right spot to be able to get the grip you need and the forward motion for that bunny hop to that final checkpoint. So that's what you're trying to do. It's a matter of getting it right so you get the height you need, and then you can brake and get over the finish line that way. That's what I find works the best for me. So this is by no means a pro tutorial. I'm still learning this track myself, but this is how I found got me through. These are the tricks that got me through this track, and from there you can start figuring out the small differences that work for you to get that bit more consistent and start being a bit more confident in everything you're doing. And so many of the tricks you learn on this track translate to other tracks. You'll finish this and suddenly all the other extreme tracks, which was so hard just to finish the first time, the same way this is so hard to finish the first time now, and you go back to those first extreme tracks and you'll suddenly just get them. They'll just be so much more easier. You'll go from just passing and getting a bronze and taking most of the time you need, and suddenly you're going to be getting silver in like your second try or so, and it just makes sense. So I hope you've enjoyed this. As I said, not a pro guide. It's just as much as of a diary for me to show you how I've gone with getting through this, but I hope this has been useful for anyone else who's watching. And yeah, I hope you have a look at my channel if you're new here and see the other stuff I do. And yeah, hope you enjoy. I'll catch you in the next video. Yeah. See ya.